Fellow Falcoholics, what is up? Welcome to episode 135 of the Falcoholic Live. I'm your host, Kevin Knight, at Falcoholic Kevin, and tonight we're joined by very special guest, Falcons linebacker Foye Oluokun. Foye, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great. Thank you guys for having me on here. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We're all big fans, obviously, and we've been hoping to talk to you for a while. So we're very excited to have you on here. Also joining us tonight, the usual suspects: Eric Robinson at _Eric_Robinson on Twitter. Eric, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, man. We just 1 week closer to the draft, and free agency is right around the corner. So this is a pretty good time of the year, man, for football fans, for those that are missing it, of course.
Yeah. If you're into off-season stuff, we're getting into the prime time. Absolutely. We're getting close to the start of the league year. We're getting start to the free agency frenzy, as some refer to it, and then after that, it'll be the draft. I guess this would normally be like Combine Week, even if this was a normal season. Obviously, it's not a normal season, unfortunately. But yes, also joining us tonight, another special guest. We have DW David Walker from the Falcoholic podcast as well. DW, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man. Good. Glad to have you. You got just loaded with VIPs tonight. Okay, we got the only one that's not here is Dave Meat, which is editor-in-chief Dave Cho for Foye, because I'm sure he doesn't get that joke, and I don't blame you. It's a weird joke, but
Didn't get it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's a weird inside joke. We don't expect people to know that unless you've been watching this show for like 3 years. But also with us tonight, Adnan Ikic. He's at Say Which Way on Twitter. Adnan, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited to be joined by Foye, one of the best young defenders in the league and, on the team. So thank you so much for joining us.
Love being here. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. All right, and finally, I want to make sure I didn't forget everyone because we got a full house. Evan Birchfield. We have given him a new title. He's officially I believe, well, there was like 3 that were floating, but I'm going to go with, Falcoholic Director of Guest Personnel, Evan Birchfield, at Evan Birchfield. Evan, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great. Thankful for, Foye joining us on Wednesday night. I spoke with him 2 weeks ago. I had an article on falcoholic.com. And I just thought it'd be a great opportunity because speaking to him, you can tell there's certain stuff you can't get into words and put on paper. So now he's got a platform to kind of talk to the fans, and excited for him to be here.
So Evan, I see you got the earpiece in. So if you have to break out because you got to take a call, because you know how busy you are.
Yeah, he's like wheeling and dealing back there. Yeah.
That man's always working.
Yes. Well, we appreciate Evan for helping set this up as well. Thanks, Evan, very much. But yes, I know you guys probably want to talk about the Falcons, want to talk about Foye. And yeah, if you guys have specific questions for Foye that are appropriate, you can send them in the chat, and I will try to get to some of those throughout the evening as well. Also, guys, please do like and subscribe if you're enjoying the show, and check out our Patreon and Discord server as well. The links to both are in the show description. Thank you guys so much for that. So I know you guys, all the guests probably have your own questions, so I want to open up the floor to any of you that had any specific questions for Foye. I think I've got some as well, but if anybody wants to take the first shot, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take the first swing. So Foye, last season it was a very unique season in its own way, of course, because of COVID, and of course because of the team in the midst of a major transition halfway through the season. So as the season transpired, what was the ultimate message in the locker room? Because of course it started off rough. You guys got your legs under you halfway through the season. And of course, it didn't end on the ideal note. So what was the message throughout the season for you guys, and what was such a weird season, to say the least?
We just wanted to get on the right path to winning games. Eventually we fell out the playoff race, but we have too much pride in that locker room to, be considered losers. We just wanted to start winning games by the end of the year. Any team that you play, any coach that we face, they're always going to say that we play hard. Obviously, we weren't executing right. And I know fans probably get tired of hearing about the execution part, but a lot of the game is mental, and everybody needs to be on the same page throughout the whole game, like every single play, every drive. So that's something that we'll correct and get right going in next year, and then win more games.
Right. So, and I'm not gonna hold you up too long because I'm gonna let the guys get some questions in too. But for you, this off season, how is this off season different for you in terms of preparation, your training compared to last off season going
I mean,
into?
so far it's been different because one, it's the first time I played a full like season of NFL football starting, so all the snaps and stuff. So I don't really like resting that much just because I feel like people work out, and as soon as I see somebody work out, I get like antsy, like, oh, these guys are trying to get better than me. I can't have that. But I got some recovery shots in my knees that just kind of kept me off the field working out and stuff. So I've kind of had to relax, had to chill out, but definitely kept my mind active doing various different things. And now I'm getting back into the weight room, working out while still recovering my legs. So usually by now I'd probably be off, about to go to Colorado to work out for however long. But obviously now that we don't have a set date on OTAs, I don't think it's gonna really affect that trip. I'll still go out there. But everything's just kind of been pushed back a little bit. But I'll still generally do the same amount of stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Anybody
Um,
else? Yeah, go ahead.
It's not a question. I just wanted to have a comment. You probably don't remember me, Foy, and I wouldn't blame you, but you were my first ever player interview in the locker room.
Oh, really?
It was after that Rams game in 2019 where I think we lost by like 30 or something. I think I made the comment
I think
that
30.
it was pretty bad. I made the comment that the only good parts of that game were me interviewing you and the ice cream that they gave us in the press box.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that press boot Fox is fire, man. That's great.
Yeah, the press box food is amazing. But yeah, I wanted to just tell you thank you for that, and it's going to be a lasting memory for me personally because you were my first when it comes to those interviews. So thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for interviewing me. I was still new to the game as well.
Well, it's funny because like a lot of us, this was our first media job. So like going into the locker room for the first time and like being surrounded by all of these players, because at the Falcoholic, we're fans first, and then we've taken the step into the media sphere. It's kind of like we get starstruck, but then we don't think of the players who are, for you playing at Yale, probably not necessarily being thrust into the media spotlight. Now, all of a sudden in the NFL, like people coming up to you and trying to get quotes from you. It's like maybe like both of us are as nervous as the other one, but we just don't know. And we just try not to let the other one know. So it's kind of funny. But
yeah.
I remember, I think I accidentally insulted Wes Schweitzer in my first locker room interview. I don't know what I said, but yeah, he was really nice about it. But yeah, he seemed like he was about to tell me off, and then he stopped and was like, don't worry about it. And I was like, oh crap, what did I do? So I still don't know what I said, but I was more careful after that in the locker room. But,
there you go.
Yeah.
Learning experience.
Yeah. Anybody else got stuff for Foye in here? I know we've got some fan questions as well, but I want to give you guys the first crack.
Yeah, let me jump in. Foye, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. You've had the same coaches since coming into the league. This will be really your first major change in coordinators. Do you have any initial thoughts on the Falcons bringing in someone like Dean Pease, who has an impressive track record in the NFL? And what do you think he's going to do with you guys in this new defense that he's going to put on the field?
So I hear defense-wise, he's unpredictable. He changes his defense up to the way things is going to work against the teams that we play. So there's no telling if it's going to be a 3-4, 4-3 from week to week. I'm sure he'll find our strengths and be able to scheme us up how we need to be schemed for the team that we're about to play. But I've seen his track record, and obviously when you have something like that, somebody accomplishes that, it's a beautiful opportunity. Obviously, it's going to be changes from the way I was used last year, which I feel like was very versatile all over the field doing different roles. However they want to use me is how they're going to use me. I'm definitely going to become the best player for them that I can be, whether it's just a normal behind the ball linebacker or still like roaming over the field. I'm definitely going to, relish my role and try to win as many games as possible.
Awesome. One follow-up to that, because this past season, frankly, you got robbed. You should have been in the Pro Bowl. Amazing season. And it was your first season. You had 3 sacks this year. And I know that we have all talked about it. It looked like you and Deion Jones both got a lot more opportunities to try to get after the quarterback. Is that something you want to try to do more of in this season and going forward?
Rushing is definitely a fun part of the game, blitzing. As long as we're disguising it and not being too predictable out there in terms of when we're coming, it's definitely really fun. Kind of gives you a rush trying to as soon as you cross the line of scrimmage, trying to get to the quarterback for sure. I think we had to do that just in order to kind of mix up our rush plans, getting to the quarterback, trying to get the ball out of his hands as much as possible. But it turned into be something that was very successful for us, so we just kept it going the whole rest of the year. So hopefully we implement. I've heard Dean Coach P's rushes a lot, so hopefully we keep that going into next year.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. All right. Let me get in a question here from the chat. We've got Don Emery, one of our longtime viewers. Don wants to know, Foye, what was the biggest or most difficult transition for you coming from Yale and then going into the NFL?
The amount of time spent on football, really, because at Yale, like 50% is football and 50% is school. But then obviously, if you want to be good, a standout football player there, you have to kind of make your own time to keep working on football. So coming into the league, everything was football. There's no really off time. Everybody was doing football the whole day. That was definitely different from me. Whether it's a meeting, study the playbook, workouts, people staying after and doing their own field work after practice and stuff. It was just cool to see, everybody so focused on the sport that, they say they love to play. Because at Yale, it's not a distraction really, but it's something else that you have to do in order to stay there is the schoolwork, which I don't have a problem doing, but being able to focus on just the football was definitely a blessing for me.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I mean that is Yale, obviously no joke of an institution in terms of the academics. I mean that's one of the top schools in the entire country. And that does dovetail into another question we had from the chat, which was how did you end up at Yale? Where did you have options out of college or?
It was destined, man. I thought my parents came from they're I'm a first generation Nigerian, so my dad came over, immigrated to put himself through college, became a chemical engineer, and then brought my mom over a couple of years later. And then soon after they had us, I had my brother first, and then I kind of just saw whatever my brother did and said, I'm not going to make those same mistakes or whatever. So obviously my brother, very good at school, ended up going to Washington University, now at business school at U Chicago, Booth Business School. It's really good too. But he kind of showed me the example of how to be good at, through academics. And obviously the sports for us were just a way out of being in our books all day. And I just really love sports so much. And obviously sports also let you meet new people from all walks of life, the character aspect of it, getting along with people from anywhere. I just love that part about it. But I just took a loving towards sports early. And then it was my way to continue further into my college career. So I originally wanted to play basketball. Then my coach, Gus Farrat, said, you're good. A high school coach, Gus Farrat, said, you're good at football. You take it more seriously. What schools would you want to go to? My dad had put it in my brain since maybe second grade. I was shooting for Ivy League schools just because he's so big on academics. So I told him, the Ivy Leagues. Then coach put my film out to them, and they all contacted me like within the next month. And I had offers to all of them. Wow. So I ended up going to Yale for a basketball camp. And then I went back a week later for a football camp. I already fell in love with the campus. And I said, that's where I want to be. And I ended up committing I missed a flight heading from maybe some football camp to a basketball tournament. I missed a flight. I was in Midway, Chicago airport, just thinking for a couple hours. And I said, I'm going to call up my coaches, my parents. I said, I'm going to commit to Yale right here. And so it was pretty easy process. Just said I was going to Yale and sending my application, had good grades in high school. So one that I had to worry about. And I was going there the next year.
Yeah, very cool. It's an awesome story. Yeah, I mean, it's and I think I was reading, up on your background to do some prep for the show, and I think you were the first player drafted from Yale since I think 2011.
Yeah.
So not necessarily a school that produces like a ton of NFL talent, but most of it has been memorable, and I would say you definitely qualify as that, particularly for Falcons fans. So, all right, let's see. So I know I had a couple questions as well. So I wanted to ask about what it's like playing, obviously, alongside Deion Jones, one of the NFL's premier linebackers, and then also getting to play with Michael Walker coming in as well this year. What's it like playing with those two guys alongside you?
It's so cool to play with Deebo because coming out, I was a safety at first, and everybody was talking about, Deebo has amazing cover skills. He's very fast and this and that. You should model your game after him. And then you get here and you just realize like he's a different type of athlete. He's definitely a special athlete. And he played with so much confidence, and there's just stuff that he does that a lot of people can't do. So, playing with him, you kind of get this, not a chip on your shoulder, but, I want to play up to par with him. I don't ever want, teams to look at us and go, oh, that's the weaker one. So it kind of gave me motivation, especially with Dre here too, when he was playing as well as he did, that I need to up my game in order to be like these guys. And then when Michael, you just see a really confident kid, a lot of good ability, and he's only going to get better from where he started off. Obviously, I didn't play linebacker forever, and then I came to the Falcons. I had to learn how to play linebacker. Michael, I think, already started off, with skills that I didn't have. So I think that his upside is tremendous. As long as he just keeps working and trying to improve himself, that he'll be up there with us. And I already think he's a great player.
Yeah, and that
Can I
go ahead.
Something real quick, just piggyback off what you mentioned. Playing safety for much of your career at Yale, what was it like? Were you told like, hey, we want you at linebacker? Like, how did that whole situation go? Like, were you completely open to it to switch, to a different position?
For sure. I started off at Yale as a corner, just because I was skinny. I didn't really lift weights in high school. And then I love lifting, so I got bigger. I moved to safety, and then I kept lifting. And it said I think it would benefit the team better if you were playing this Viper position, which like the old Michigan defense where Jabril Peppers played. So he's kind of around the ball all the time. He might not necessarily make all the tackles, but the defense runs around him. So I was like, yeah, for sure. Then my second to last year, I started there, and then one of our safeties got hurt. I moved back to safety. Then my last year there, I moved back down to that Viper position, we called it. And obviously I was just able to flourish at that position. And I still kind of consider myself as a defensive back, the amount of covering I was doing, and I wasn't really in the box that much. But the NFL saw me and they said, long arms, ability to gain more weight, that I would be a linebacker at the next level. And I think just moving down to that Viper position was a blessing that then the NFL teams could consider me a linebacker. So I went from like a decent athlete to a really good athlete playing linebacker. I just had to gain the weight the right way. So I was all about moving down and trying to become an impactful player that way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like if you look at your athletic testing, which obviously very impressive compared to my like 4.8 40 time. But hey, in high school that was fast. Okay, but yeah, maybe 4.75 on a good day. Yeah, but
what weight we talking?
I don't know, 185.
That's not good, man.
Hey, It may.
Damn,
I was
Kevin,
satisfied.
you're getting scouted right now.
Yeah, no, I was
getting drafted.
I was not offered any scholarships coming out. I'll just make that clear. But no, but I think if you look at your athletic testing as a linebacker, it puts you in the top 90%. For linebackers, that 4.48 super impressive for a linebacker. Obviously, 3-cone great. Short shuttle, I think you were like the number 1 or number 2, or you would have been at the combine compared to all other linebackers. So it's just super impressive numbers. I think that was a really smart decision by the coaching staff, and you've taken to the position really well. So
when I was in high school, I actually didn't. Well, Harvard also wanted me. I didn't really like them because I went to their camp and they wanted to move me to linebacker. I was like, bro, I was playing corner at the time too. So I was like, this is ridiculous. Why would you ever want to play linebacker? So I was offended. But then as I got to college, I got with it. I got with the program.
Yeah.
They had the right idea.
I had a question just in your rookie season. We remember Deion Jones had that injury early on in the year in week 1 against Philadelphia, the foot injury. And that kind of thrust you into the fire, so to speak. How much did that help you, if at all, with the rest of your career, just starting out and just being thrown right into that starting linebacker position right out of the gate in week 2?
Yeah, that was insane because when I first got drafted, Coach Ulbrich said, we're not taking you to redshirt you. We want you to, make an impact right away. And I heard what he said. I didn't really believe him. But then when Deebo got hurt, I just saw it all come into fruition that, I was really there to play. And at first, back up, Duke and Dre, and then eventually earn that starting role. And I think it was really key for me to see that, I had a place in this league, and obviously I could improve from that rookie year. But if I did, I think that I would be a really good player, or decent player. And then when I got my time this third year, after all the plays I played rookie year and second year behind Dre and Bo, I just had the confidence that, I could go out there and make plays in this league for sure.
This was definitely a huge season for you, as DW pointed out. You were a fringe Pro Bowler in the eyes of a lot of people. What is one moment, one play that stood out this past season for you? I mean, you were, if for anyone who watched the games, you guys know that Foye was always around the ball. He made life hell for Zeke Elliott and the Cowboys. Had a couple of interceptions throughout the season. But what's one play that stood out for you this year that you did that you will probably walk away from and said, that might have been my favorite play?
I think the punch from the Cowboys, the tight end caught that screen. Obviously I was feeling when that game. I was on. I don't know. My energy was through the roof.
Yeah.
I only played one quarter. My body gave out on me. I was just, I caught not a cramp, my hamstring.
Yeah.
My body gave out on me. But like those, whatever amount of plays I played, I was on one. So I saw the tight end catch the ball. And he turned upfield. I was getting blocked by a lineman. And in my head, I was like, oh, this is that drill that we practice all the time in practice, like gap and a half, punch out. Yeah. I watched the film. It was not that drill at all, but he turned up the corner, and I was just wound up, and I punched the ball out, and really, like, I hit his face mask first, went through his face mask to the ball, basically almost broke my hand, but punched the ball out. And
that might have been their second fumble?
That was like their fourth fumble of the game.
Right?
Bro, you had 3 forced fumbles in that game. Right. I know the opposing offense and the offensive coaches were like, "What the hell, man? Like, what's going on?"
I mean,
I'm sure Foye was on the sideline too. Like, what the hell is going on?
I was yelling. I was on one. I was definitely feeling myself after that quarter. But that play, it was definitely, it's just a confidence booster for me that if I'm playing at my best, I feel like. At that time, I was really, a reckoning to be dealt with. Like I wouldn't say unstoppable, but I felt like I owned the game in that quarter. So if I'm playing at my best, I know that I could be a problem out there.
I want to know what was going through your head when you picked off Mahomes.
I wanted to score.
Yeah, man. I wanted you to score.
Hey,
we all did.
Yeah. I can have this 100+ yard return, but of course, Tyreek Hill, he kind of ruined things a little bit for you. But that was is that the one play? Because you know how a lot of defenders, their first sack against a premier quarterback or their first is that one play that's going to stick to you when 10 years from now when you're done? Like, hey,
yeah. So when it first happened, I didn't think much of it because he looked that way at first, and then I kind of I had responsibility on the left, and then he thought I was going to it, but I ended up being able to be free, and I went and stole it.
Yeah.
I just felt like I played the play right, and I caught it. Like he tried me, like I couldn't, jump that high or catch the ball or whatever. I caught it and I started running, and I hadn't really ran that far with the ball since maybe early in college or high school. But doing all those zigzags and stuff, the team was clowning me earlier in the year because I didn't get that far in the Minnesota return. Then I almost broke that one. If somebody would just block the receivers, I would have scored. But it was really until after the game where everybody's like, wow, Foye picked off Mahomes. I'm like, oh, that might have been a special part that in my career later on I can go back and tell people. But in the middle of the play, I wasn't thinking none of that. I was just trying to score and win.
Yeah. Mahomes is going to go down as like an all-time great, probably. Like you appreciate just how amazing Mahomes is, and you'll be able to say, "Hey, like I picked that guy off when he's like in the GOAT conversation, like 10 years from now."
Yeah, that'll be cool. For sure. I just wanted to score.
Not only,
yeah, man.
But it came at a critical time. I think they're about to take the lead there in the first half, and you got a key red zone stop there. So it wasn't just the interception; it was the fact that you kind of slammed the door on them in the first right there.
Yeah.
I hear he doesn't throw red zone interceptions too. That's something else that people kept saying. Which I would not think about any of that until people told me about it. So it was cool though.
Yeah, it was very cool. Very cool. All right, let's see. So, Paul Mack in the chat wants to know, Foye, who was your favorite player when you were growing up?
Ooh, my favorite player. Somebody on the St. Louis Rams. I like Marshall Faulk. All the greatest show on turf. Because I was from St. Louis, so anybody then was my favorite player. Then obviously Mike Vick was my favorite quarterback. As somebody who I was like, oh, I always want to be on, but I never played quarterback. So I like Denius Williams, Laurinaitis when we got him. And then cornerback that didn't play on the Rams was Champ Bailey. I love watching Champ.
Yeah.
And Nnamdi Asomugha. I think he played for the Raiders.
Yeah.
But mostly the Rams. That was my team. Diehard fan.
Bro, Nnamdi was a problem back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Like Nnamdi on the, I remember it was him and Darrell Revis were just like the shutdown guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was loaded. Yeah, you think I forgot about that? They're on the on the field together. That's wild. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. All right, let's see. So, okay, we got from Vilegraph56, longtime viewer. He wants to know who the strongest Falcon is. Like, who's literally the strongest? It could be anyone.
I think. I don't really watch the offensive lineman list, but I know Grady's the strongest defensive guy.
If I had to put money on it,
man, that boy puts all the plates on the board and lifts them. I'm like, how?
Yeah, there's something about him, man. Like I don't understand it, but yeah, I mean, he's got that. Like he and Aaron Donald have that thing where it's like someone this size should not be this strong, and they just are.
Right.
Like they just are somehow they have that incredible strength. So yeah, that's who I would assume it was. But yeah,
watching him lift is different. I mean, yeah, why I end at is like his, I wouldn't say starting weight, but he has a lot more to go after what I end at.
Yeah, he's like just getting warmed up by that time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man. All right, let's see. I know I'm sure we have other questions from the chat. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to get in here for Foye?
Yeah, I want to, Foye, we had heard, and I want to see if you can clarify this. Is it true that you were the one that told the Falcons coaches about Jaden Graham since you guys went to Yale together?
I don't think I told him. I didn't tell. I told him that there was a tight end out there in the league that he was bouncing around. I didn't know what team he just got he tried out with, but when he did come, they definitely asked me about him, like, oh, what kind of guy is he, this and that. But I didn't make them go look him up to sign him. I might have said we had another Yale guy out there in the mist, but I didn't make them go look at him. I just mentioned him.
Yeah. That's cool.
I want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to know real quick. Who's Foye on the basketball court?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you on the basketball court, man?
Let me tell you. My game. So my favorite player is Rondo, but my friends will say I don't play anything like him. But I love Rondo. Who am I on the basketball court? Definitely a slasher. I wouldn't say I'm a great 3-point shooter, though. If I get hot, I can shoot it. Growing up, my favorite players were AI. I'm a big Michael Jordan guy. High school basketball, I guess I was like a mini LeBron out there. I was bigger than, like, I wouldn't say I was LeBron, but the way my team used me was like LeBron. I was definitely bigger, and I basically played point guard, the facilitator. Yeah, got all the rebounds and points and assists, triple doubles and stuff. But
so you're a walking triple double, basically. What
I wouldn't say. I mean, if we had more minutes in a high school game, for sure. But I did everything for the team. Yeah, and people kind of played off of me in high school. Okay. Obviously, if you go travel ball tournament, everybody's just as good. But yeah, for my high school team, I was basically the LeBron of our team. Trying to be humble, but yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, you don't have to be humble on this show. It's fine. Yeah. I think all the fans are just excited to be able to actually, get to see you, because, seeing you on game day, obviously that's really cool, but I think it's helpful for fans to get to interact, because as media, we get to talk to you guys when you're not like fully suited up and actually see that, you're real people. You're not just like football automatons. So I hope this helps fans see, these guys, they're people, like they do other things other than just eat, sleep, and play football. So
sure.
I appreciate that perspective as well. But
Foye, let me
Foy,
just
I
ask.
wanted.
Go ahead, Evan.
Go ahead. Oh, okay.
those are too
I just
polite,
want to
yeah.
ask. Before obviously joining the Falcons, had you been to Atlanta before? And like, what kind of what's your experience been like so far? Like in the
Yeah.
city.
No, I've never been to Atlanta before. Heard good things about it. I came here, so I live kind of up north, closer to the facility, not Flowery Branch, but closer to there. But the actual city of Atlanta is just something always going on, which I'm not used to because I'm from the Midwest, so everything's kind of slower paced. Here, a lot of things are like more spread out, but still everybody feels like they got the city vibe aspect to them, and everybody's trying to do something all the time. So that's just different for me. I think it's pretty cool that there's definitely different ways that everybody feels useful or trying to get their money or whatever they're trying to do in life. But I feel like it's an opportunistic city here. If you want an opportunity to do something, I feel like that's what people can come to Atlanta and find it for sure.
Yeah. All right, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna ask about that Saints game where you like recovered the onside kick like 3 different times. Like,
Yeah.
was that also one of those things where going into it after doing it like once or twice, you're like, all right, yeah, we got this shit again.
Yeah. So the first one that we kicked, it was offsides, but I just saw the opening. Like if he kicks like that again, I'm just going to get it before the other team gets it. And then Koo kicks the same kick every time, and then I saw the opportunity to get it, and I got it the next time. Then the third kick, the guy tried to charge it, and obviously I dove before he could get his hand on it, and I hit it off his leg, and then Ish got it. And then going into the next season, I think our first game, or maybe second game, or first game against the Seahawks with an onside kick that we kicked, and it was the same thing. I went and got it. So it's kind of I became the onside kick king. That's what we called it in the in our special teams room. Like I told coach, if there's an onside kick, put me in. I'm not coming off of that. So it was cool for sure, but it's just an opportunity I saw, and then we're going to kick the same kick, and I get a good get off and make something happen.
You gotta be tops in the league over the past 2 seasons as far as recoveries. I don't even know if
and when they kick the ball to us for onside kick, I feel like I'm pretty good at getting those too. So I was mad that wasn't in the Dallas game because I feel like that would have been kicked right at me.
Sure yeah, we're all really mad you weren't in the Dallas.
Yeah, trust us on that one. Yeah, I wasn't going to ask about that game.
Yeah, so I feel like I was a little at fault for that, but
have you practiced the recovery a lot, like in practice?
We don't.
Have you practiced? Oh, you don't really practice it?
So I feel like when they kick it to us, like when I'm recovering the onside kick, that's more like a baseball technique, like charging the ground ball, except for the football can bounce up at any time. So you kind of just gotta, as a kid, you always play with football, as like if it's bouncing low a couple times, one of the times it's gonna pop up, or if it's popped up, next time it might, skid on the ground. You just gotta cover it, swarm it, and then when you're kicking the onside kick, kind of the same thing. I was watching it, dribble along the ground, but I knew eventually it's going to pop up in the air, and then when it does, that's my chance to go take it.
Be real, man. You
because I think
you give Koo that signal.
I think people
right here. Yeah.
I think people forget how like insane that is because you're not only trying to focus on catching that ball, you have 5 grown men charging you from like 10 yards away. So I imagine it's kind of like you. I was just curious how you practiced it, but so do you was that something new for you? Like, did you ever do that at Yale or anything?
No,
or you're just naturally good at it?
In high school, we had a surprise onside kick that it was kind of the same get off and stuff, but I was just there to go blow up the front line. And in that one, I was getting the ball, so it's a little bit different in terms of what I was doing, but the same get off and running part. But I also know that when somebody's running at you, just like how you said 5 grown men are running at me, like I'm 240, 235 pounds, like I'm running this down. They're not going to think that's too delightful either. So I know they got some fear in them too, and that's probably why they didn't touch me.
Bro, it's like a 1 in like 10 billion chance to recover 3 straight onside kicks. Like
Yeah.
that does not happen in an NFL game. So
It
kudos.
has to happen. I like to say it has to happen one time
Yeah.
in the 10 billion. So that was just the
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
completely made that number up. It's a big number, though.
Yeah, so we had a good question from Jason Gaines, another frequent viewer, asking about Jeff Ulbrich and what impact he had on your development in the NFL.
He definitely gave me confidence, this motivation that I could make it in the league. I didn't know what kind of player I could be, obviously, because I went to a small school. In my head, all you hear is like, "Oh, he didn't go to this LSU, Alabama, da da da." So you're over there thinking that these guys must be head and heels above you. Then when you get there, you go through a couple practices, and he's over there telling you, "Oh, you could be a special player if you keep improving how I think you will." That's just that's great to hear, because he's not somebody who's going to bullshit you. If he didn't think I was going to be, anything, I've seen how he talks to other guys. I don't think he's going to go out on a limb and say that. And then obviously he did his own work to bring me to the Falcons, because I heard a lot of scouts weren't that high on me. Even around the league in the Northeast, I wasn't on people's radars for other teams who have been. And then those scouts apparently got fired because how you miss out on somebody who becomes the NFL starter. I don't know. They did it, so they need to do
Yeah,
it.
not saying that you pulled in any favors for that or anything, but maybe you're not super upset about it.
It's their loss.
Yeah, but he's he's played in the league. He's seen a lot of football. So if he says that I could be good, I think that I was just trying to honor his word. Appreciate him for bringing me to the squad, and I obviously wanted to become the best player I could be, not only for myself but to prove him right too.
Yeah, very cool. All right, guys. Yeah, want to remind folks, if you're enjoying the show and Foye's great commentary, please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. And you can check out all of our other various endeavors, including our Patreon and Discord, in that show description as well. All right, I know we had a question from Smorgasborg9 about young players on the defense. Anyone in particular that you're excited to see how they fare in 2021?
Yeah, Marlon, AJ, Jalen Hawk, obviously Michael. I think those guys all had great plays. I think they all had some growing experiences. AJ obviously played the most. So in terms of confidence, he's seen it all. He's seen a lot of the best receivers in the league. So we're asking him to do a lot for us in terms of man-to-man, how we covered last year. And I'm sure the coaches will have a plan for him this year, whatever it is they plan for it to be. I know he's a very talented player, and we're going to, rely on him a lot. So I'm sure they'll be able to make their second year jumps the same way that, a lot of other guys have in the league. And we're definitely looking forward to it.
Very cool. Yeah. Those are all definitely names that fans are keeping an eye on too, especially Marlon. It's unfortunate that he had to deal with so many injuries back to back and just kind of got a slow start. So I know he's definitely one of the guys I'm most excited to see have a healthy season, get a chance to get out there, make some plays. Because I think he's very exciting. I loved his college tape as well. So very excited to see what he's doing this year. Anybody else have stuff to add? I think I could probably find more stuff from the chat as well.
I just wanted to. Me and Adnan keep
you too.
asking at the same time.
Yeah, we keep butting heads, obviously.
I just wanted to ask, obviously you probably haven't seen everybody since, there's been like a new staff hired and stuff, but is there like a lot of energy, excitement and stuff? Because I know you told me this is the first time you're kind of having like a new head coach experience. Like I believe you said in high school and at Yale, it was like you just had the same head coach the whole time. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know, like, what's like the energy like? Are the players excited?
Yeah, everybody I talked to is definitely excited. It's definitely a little bit nerve-wracking because you kind of have to go and get reevaluated again. But I think at the end of the day, we're all football players, so we just go out there and play football at the end of the day. We'll learn, our responsibilities within the defense, how we learn them. It's our job to learn them. But at the end of the day, when the ball's thrown, when the ball's, being handed off, we got to get to the ball and make the tackle. So at least that's on the defensive side. But I think we're pretty excited. We've heard good things about this new coordinator, and we're definitely ready to get that out there and play for him.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
really liked our Rainey's question in the chat. I just needed to shout that one out. Are you more of a Cardinals or a Braves fan at this point?
Cardinals fan.
Oh, okay.
Look. As being a true fan, like of something, you're not gonna waver just because you move.
Absolutely.
I think that I've had some awful messages because I think the
Jesus.
Cardinals have played the Braves. You know, we obviously smacked them about 2 years ago in the last game, and everybody got butthurt that I was rooting for the Cardinals. Like, I'm a real baseball fan. I like the Cardinals. I'm not gonna stop liking the Cardinals because I moved to Atlanta. Like,
I
I'm
feel
a real
you.
fan. That's how to be a real fan.
Right.
So-
I feel you, and we're the same way with the Atlanta teams. I should have probably phrased that question asking what was your reaction to that 10-run first inning.
Oh, I was ecstatic. I think we were in Arizona getting ready to play the Arizona Cardinals. And I got somebody on our staff as a Cardinals fan. He came to me like, "Yo, it's 10-0 in the first inning." I was like, "Oh, it's a wrap." I knew my Instagram would be blown up with all these haters and stuff saying. I had a couple of people saying that I hope I get traded from the Falcons. I'm like, y'all are so butthurt, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a Cardinals fan though, unapologetically.
Bro,
Yeah,
absolutely. I was on the other side of that because, Braves fan. So I was like talking with someone and I just look at the phone. It's like 2-0. It's like 2 minutes later. Oh, it's now 8-0. Like,
Yeah.
man.
No, it's crazy. I was thinking like how crazy that day must have been for you. I know in St. Louis, if that game was in the middle of a work day, I know everybody got to work early. Everybody's talking about the game. You eventually, watch it on TV or whatever, or go to the stadium. And I know there's people who didn't even step in the stadium yet. It's still the first inning. They step in, look at the scoreboard. It's 10-0. Like, how much?
they haven't gotten a beer yet. Yeah,
The worst part is that was game 5. Those are some expensive tickets, so you can't just
Yeah.
like go home.
People took off of work to watch 10-0.
You spend an hour looking for a park. You get a beer.
Yeah.
See your seat, and it's 10-0. You like, man, what the hell is going on here? Like, that would definitely ruin the day for me. Absolutely.
But I told people, like, you guys are going to be a good team going. You have a lot of young talent, good hitting, good pitching. I said, I'm surprised you didn't make the World Series last year, but I think every year you're going to be in the running for it. So nothing to hang your heads on for sure, but the Cardinals got you that series. That's all it was.
Yeah. I mean,
It was just added to the laundry list.
Yeah. I'll just, I mean, fans, as fans, we try to teach people to be better and not come after players for I mean, it's one thing if you grew up in Atlanta and you just choose to root for some other team, okay, like then maybe I can see it, but it's like you did not grow up in Atlanta, you're not from Georgia, like you have your own preferences. Just because you play for the Falcons doesn't mean you automatically have to change all your allegiances to whatever Atlanta fans want. So everybody understand this is a loyal fan to his teams. That's what you would want if you were a Cardinals fan. You wouldn't want him to abandon his franchise just because he's playing in Atlanta. So
right,
understand completely. All right, let's see. I know Tyler Russell was asking if it's obviously very early in the process with the new coaching staff. Have you guys already gotten a bunch of prep work or any things? Did they send you playbooks to study yet or anything like that?
Yeah, I think they're getting that all ready to send out to us soon because we don't know when OTAs are going to start. And then, I've been in the weight room and we got a new weightlifting coach, and he's put me through hell a couple of days, so it's all good.
Yeah, it sounds like a new strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
He'll have you looking like Grady Jarrett in no time.
I want to lift. I don't know if I want to look like him. I want to lift like him.
Yeah,
do 2 different positions. Yeah,
right. Yeah, 300-pound linebacker. I don't know how well that's going to work. Yeah. Might lose a little bit of lateral mobility there if you get up to Grady weight, but
right.
Maybe another transition defensive tackle is in the making here.
Maybe
So can't rule it out.
All 3 levels throughout your career.
Yeah, there you go.
Is he ready for 5-tech duty?
Oh man, I don't think I am, but if they want me to do it, I'm gonna do it.
Right. Yeah, that 3-4, we might start getting creative. So.
Yeah, good at it.
All right, let's see. Did you guys have any more questions for Foye? I think.
Actually, I've got one.
Yeah, go for it.
Foye, who's the biggest trash talker in the locker room?
Russell Gage is the best trash talker in the locker room. Plus, he
Oh,
See, I
gained
wouldn't
it.
have guessed that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that
one.
boy
That's
funny. That boy is comedy. Yeah, but he backs it up too. Like one thing I noticed, like we had a ping pong table in the locker room, and he wasn't very good at it, and people were getting on him, and he don't like that at all because he's usually the one issuing out the trash talking. So he got really good at ping pong really quickly, and then it's part how good you are, and then part just listening to him talk. That's how you got to beat him. You got to get through his talking, like not let him get in your head, then also be able to make the shots that you need to make. But he's like that on the football field too, because he has insane releases, crazy athleticism. He's definitely somebody who's confident in what he can do. But I like the way he can get in people's heads for sure.
yeah. I was just gonna say, like, if I recall correctly, you and Russell were both like 6th rounders in the same draft year. So I mean,
6 picks apart.
Yeah, our scouting team was like feeling themselves that year. So
Yeah, we're both expected to be special teams players, and then he came up to me talking about, I can play receiver too, like, and I just saw the confidence in him. Really, I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, you think you can do it? Go ahead and do it. And he's got better and better receiver. Obviously, had crazy movements and athleticism I talked about earlier, and now he's, I think he's on his way to being a really good receiver.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I think he was another guy that spent a lot of time at defensive back in college and then transitioned to something new in the NFL. I think he played a little wide receiver for LSU, but yeah, just it's kind of crazy. Similar draft positions, kind of a little bit of a similar story with the defensive back history, transitioning to a new position. And then both you guys obviously have taken it and run with it. So very impressive. Because I mean, just making it in the NFL at all, obviously just a huge deal. And then being able to change positions and then excel at the new position, it's just very impressive. So obviously we're very, happy to see you succeed. We're happy to see any Falcon succeed, but it's been particularly, I think, impressive for you, considering 6th round pick. People don't have a lot of expectations, and I think you've blown away basically everyone's expectations. So
Oh no, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? We lose you? Oh, I know your video froze. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Okay. You look like, yeah, we got you back now. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just really excited to have you, obviously. And
I wanted to ask something. Is there obviously all of us, write about Falcons players, especially, right now where there's not like a whole lot of stuff going on. Is there anybody on defense who we should be talking more about in your eyes? Like, obviously we talk about Grady and Dion and stuff like that. Is there like somebody, or maybe somebody you think could explode next year, kind of like how you did last year?
I'm definitely friends with Isaiah Oliver, and I just see a lot of the slack that he got in the beginning of the year, and then I think as his confidence got up and he had that little change to inside slot nickel, I think he had some great games. So I'm expecting him to make another jump this year and definitely be a good teammate for us and good playmaker. So I'm definitely rooting for him. I don't really know who you guys want to talk about, but I'm just saying I'm hoping he explodes next year.
Yeah, that is one for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of saying some things about Isaiah Oliver. So nothing personal, Isaiah. I was one of the highest people I think on Oliver coming out. So I was really excited to see him kind of excel in that new role on the inside this year. So I hope he can carry that over and have another strong season in 2021. All right, yeah, you did mention your friends with Isaiah Oliver. Alex Jones wanted to know who's like your boy, like who's your go-to guy in the locker room. Who are you closest with?
Him, and Jacob Toyota Mariner. We kind of we call ourselves the Beanbag Boys from that one movie, The Good Boys. We all watched that together, and we said we're gonna call ourselves the Beanbag Boys too. Nobody has beanbags yet, but I think I'm gonna get one so we can make ourselves official.
Yeah,
but yeah,
make it legit.
we're gonna be friends for forever, I think. So
very cool.
For life.
Yeah, what was the reaction after that Raiders game where Toyota Mariner just like went off and he was like player of the week in the NFL?
We were so happy to see everybody on the team because he's such a good kid. He's such a good dude. Always positive, good energy. Always rooting for other people. Very selfless. So when he was able to have that kind of game and put some of the shine on himself, everybody was just flocking to him. Like he was definitely deserving of it. Puts in so much work, and I was just happy because he's an undrafted guy who I just seen, get more and more confident in himself. And to see him, finally, have a game where everybody sees all the work that he put in come into fruition, like that was just crazy for me to see. I was very happy for him.
Yeah, we're all super happy for him, and he's a guy who's just kind of done, the thankless work. He's as a rotational guy, kind of someone playing a lot of special teams, and to see him really get an opportunity to play a lot of snaps and to see him take advantage of it, I know we were all really excited to see that too. So,
Yep.
I think it's basically a no-brainer he'll be back next year for the team as an exclusive rights guy. But excited to see where he goes because I think he's got a ton of potential. He's another name I would definitely keep an eye on going into 2021 because, just really improved every single year, I think. So very excited about him. Did you guys have any other questions for Foye tonight?
Yeah, just one more. Foye, obviously, it's a sport, but it's also a business. And, a couple weeks ago, Ricardo Allen, unfortunately, was, not part of the future plans for the team. Do you have any thoughts about what Ricardo has meant to you, to the defense, in your time that you've been in Atlanta?
Yeah, coming in, he's definitely a guy who even the coaches, told the young guys to look at, kind of emulate your work habits, work ethic around. He's somebody who gets the playbook, always has it memorized. Like people will go to him asking him questions. Definitely always in his film study, always come to coach with questions on formations and stuff, kind of like a quarterback back there on the defense. And then obviously he has his own story about how he got cut, practice squad, and then kind of earned his way back onto the roster, then turned himself into a trusted starter and, made a lot of plays for the Falcons and gets a lot of people aligned. I mean, my rookie year when I was still questioning, like maybe a little tad bit slow on, where to set the line and then where people should be, he would come up from the safety position and get a lineman in the right spot. Just because I called it left, I didn't really know where the lineman lined up. I was just trying to play my gap. And he would come with like, this don't look right, and get everybody lined up the right way. So he's definitely a leader on the defense through example. And, whenever he talked, everybody listened because he's definitely somebody who's kind of wise and everybody can really look at and say, this is the way things should be done. So a lot of gratitude towards Rico, and he knows I appreciate him. Hit him up last week, obviously, when it all happened, and definitely somebody I kind of emulated my work habits around.
Yeah, obviously. Sad to see Rico go. I'm going to miss him for sure. One of my favorite players to watch every week. So I'm sure he's going to catch on elsewhere and going to continue his very nice career.
Mm-hmm.
Evan, did you have something as well you wanted to add?
Yeah, this is like totally different, but the new uniforms, did you have a favorite set? Like I love the all white. I didn't know if you had you love one of the different sets.
I like the gradient the best, the red and black. I think we wore all white. Like, we wore all white a lot. So, yeah, we just have so many mix and match things that we could do. I kind of want to get more into that, but I don't really make a call on the uniform. I just wear whatever.
The gradients, honestly, I know a lot of people were super skeptical of the gradients because a lot of teams have really screwed them up. And they haven't looked good. Jaguars. But, I thought the Falcons ones actually looks really good. Like, I was a big fan. I think, the red to black, it's not, overly in your face with it. It's very gradual. I think it's, a really clean look for something that's kind of that more modern style. So I'm a big fan of that as well.
Yep. But I liked all of the they were all cool to me, for real. Mm-hmm. I just kind of want to maybe go white. But I think we did white pants or white tops, black pants. I think that was cool.
Yeah.
I think we were anticipating the white top and red bottoms, but we never got them.
The problem with
they had it in the lineup, and I figured man, they might toss it out at least one game, but they didn't.
Yeah. The thing they have to figure out with that is the striping. Yeah. One of the pants, I believe, is black, and then the stripe on the top is red, so it wouldn't. So there's something messed up there.
I still remember after the uniforms were revealed, Evan just made this 6-paragraph essay, critiquing it.
Yes, it's a stylistic critique. Evan is our uniform correspondent. So.
Yeah, it went completely in depth. I was over here damn, I just like the whites. That's my .
you know,
That's my analysis.
The way that the color scheme, you know, melds together, it evokes, you know, modern art themes of, you know, Jean-Claude and
very
yes,
abstract.
very abstract. Yeah.
My only thing was I want red helmets.
A red helmet would be cool to mix
red
in.
helmet.
Yeah,
like an extra helmet.
Yeah,
or a red helmet.
No, I had my heart set on them going like full red.
With the throwback logo on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they've discussed that the helmet rule might come to an end. I think Foye, you were already you were still in college when that went into effect, to where you didn't get to wear, like, because at one time they had different, you know, throwback helmets for all the teams, but now you only wear the one shell. So like when y'all are wearing the throwbacks, it's the same. You know, it wasn't a big change, but last year you had more of a shine, where this year was more like matte looking.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just happy to see them go to the all blacks, man. That's one thing as a Falcons fan, as I remember, you know, like seeing Michael Vick and the all blacks come out there on the field. Like, I'm like, man, we wanted to see that. So I was so glad, especially for the Raiders game. You guys look great in that. So but we'll see, man. They might mix it up. They might do a little Oregon type thing this year. We'll see.
They do have the flexibility. I mean, yeah, I was definitely team, you know, black jerseys, just because I missed, because I became a Falcons fan in like the Vic era when they were rocking the all blacks all the time. Right. And I was a big fan of that look. But I mean, all their jerseys have been pretty good. I've never really had a problem with any of them. But yeah, this is the jersey talk section of the podcast. But yeah, do you guys have any more questions for Foye? I know we've like held you here for an hour, so if you're itching to,
let him know. We greatly appreciate you showing up on here, man. This is
it's been fun. It's been fun.
Forward, you know, and you know, just to be able to have your expertise, because we've had a little bit of everything. We've had a former, you know, Falcons reporter. We've had a former Falcons lineman, Keenan Forney. He joins us periodically. But to have, you know, an active member of the roster right now, like, this is huge. So we appreciate you coming on for us tonight.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
Yep. And Foye, he is on Twitter at Foyeolicious, which is probably my favorite hashtag, favorite at of all the Falcons players. That one's basically undefeated, I think.
Wait, you can't let him go. You got to explain that.
That's just a high school or middle school joke, really. When Twitter was hot back in, my brother made Twitter first, but I didn't have a Twitter until college. And then in high school, I remember that's when that Fergalicious song was out. Or middle school was out. And everybody, I had remixed it to make my own name. And so then I remember in high school, like, oh, if you had a Twitter, what would it be? One of my friends he started like tweeting things I would say. And he's like, what would your handle be? I said, Foye Oluokun. And then he started saying, at Foye Oluokun says this and that. So when I finally made my own Twitter, I was just going to keep it at that.
Yeah, that's a great story.
It started from that tune.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was just like a joke or but I like that. It's got a whole backstory. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's your Instagram too, right?
Yeah. It's kept everything the same.
Yeah. Anything else you want to plug or let the people know about Foye?
Shoot, I don't really be talking about myself unless I'm asked.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. Yeah. Just want to give people the opportunity. You know, most people come on, you know, maybe not NFL players, you know, maybe not in that tier, so they got their stuff they got to plug. So if you know.
Well, either way, we wish you continued success. You know, hopefully as a lifelong Falcon, we're all massive fans of yours, and you know, even more so after this. Thank you so much, and congrats on the career, and congrats on like finishing at Yale. Like that's I don't think people make enough like of a deal for that. Like they don't make a big enough deal about you, like, you know, finishing at an Ivy League school. Like that's mad props to you. That's a hard thing to do.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it was definitely a journey and experience that I would encourage. If you could get there, I'd say do it, because it sets you up for things outside of the sport that you play. So, you know, obviously I try to reach as many kids as possible. I try to go and preach to them about education and how it can take you further. Obviously, like the school, I get into the schooling system, all that stuff that it's, makes it hard on some people. But I think as long as you get your opportunity, that's what a lot of these kids need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah, we like everyone else said, we really do appreciate you coming on and taking the time. The fans in the chat are very appreciative to get a chance to meet you and talk to you and have their questions answered as well. So thank you again. The handle again is the best Falcons handle on Twitter at Foye and thank you so much, Foye, for coming on. And hopefully we'll talk to you again in the future at some point.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're going to transition to some other talk. You're welcome to take off or hang out if you'd like, Foye, whatever you prefer.
Probably get back to my I gotta play a 2K game here, my boy.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good excuse. All right. Yeah, you're off the hook.
We'll buy it.
Yeah, we'll buy it. Yeah.
Practice with that.
Yeah, you got to win though.
Yeah, you got to win for us. Yeah, okay.
Who you playing with? Who you playing with?
I'm with the Spurs right now. I just got traded. I'm trying to get my guy better. I just got the game about a week ago.
Oh,
So I'm on the Spurs right now.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
You PS4 or Xbox, or I guess PlayStation? Maybe you got
PlayStation. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did you get a PlayStation 5 or are you still?
I just got it.
Oh,
I
nice.
just got it.
Very
You
nice.
got lucky.
Huh?
Got lucky.
No, we got.
You had to pull some strings, say, hey, I'm a Falcons player over here. Give me that.
It got offered. Somebody offered it to me. Like, oh, you want to play something? Like, you know what? I was gonna wait till the price came back down, but if they gave it to me at that price, I said I'll take it.
Right? Yeah, you don't just turn it down.
Yeah, you can't do that.
The perks of being a football player, man.
Oh, right.
Yeah, PlayStation 5 definitely, one of the big ones, I would think. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks again, man. Enjoy your game and the rest of your evening. And we'll talk to you at some point in the future.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.
I'll see you guys.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Foye Oluokun. Just really excited to have him on and tremendous guest. Thank him again.
How do we
for
chop
his
that
time.
for the rest of the
Yeah,
show?
I don't know. It's all downhill from here. Right? Yeah. All right. Time to talk about.
Have y'all heard DW sing? DW?
Oh, is it that part of the show now?
It's not that part of the off season yet, guys. Come on.
That's for after the draft. Yeah.
That's for like the doldrums of June.
Oh, yeah.
We do the Falcoholic opera.
New York.
But yeah, we do have some other stuff to talk about, so please do stick around, guys. And we appreciate all your questions. Appreciate everyone for hanging out with us as well. Like I said, if you don't mind throwing a like and a subscription to the channel as well, if you're not already doing that, we do appreciate that. Check out the Patreon. That's patreon.com/Falcoholic Live. And I do want to get this in for folks. Our next patron Q&A session is going to be, I believe, next Thursday. We're going to try for maybe 6 o'clock or something like that. So if you're interested in getting in on that, it's like a hour-long or so session with our patrons where we just do Q&A, just straight Q&A. You guys send us all your questions and we answer them. It was a lot of fun. Last month, this is technically February's show. I'm just late, so blame me for that. But, it's a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, just make sure you're signed up for the Patreon by next Thursday so we can get you the link to that. But yeah, guys, let's talk about, I obviously Foye was sad about Rico, to see Rico go, and we all are. We've talked about it on here that, Allen was probably one of the most likely players that we would see go because of his cap hit and because of the way his play, had fallen off a little bit this year. So, it's still sad to see a player like that go. And, for me in particular, like I think I showed it on Twitter. Like I got a cup from the 2016 season, from the last game in the Georgia Dome. And of like the 7 players on that cup, there's like 2 left now. It's Matt Ryan and I think it's Matt Ryan and Julio, and that's it. All the other 5 guys are gone now. So it's just piece by piece, we're losing the last remnants of that 2016 team, and maybe that's a good thing for some fans, but it's still sad to see.
Bro, I know some fans who wanted to just salt the earth after that game, just immediately that offseason. Trade everyone.
Right, yeah, just totally blow it up. No, we're not doing that. But yeah, we did see Ricardo Allen cut, as well as Alan Bailey. The Falcons cleared over $10 million in cap with those moves, so they were necessary moves for trying to get under the cap, especially in a year where, the cap is down. We're likely to see the cap 185 million is the current guess, but could go down more. So we're going to talk about what other types of things the Falcons can do to clear space. How active are they going to be in free agency? What type of tack are they going to take? Are they going to try to limit the restructures to try to go big, in future years, or are they going to really try to really compete in 2021 by, taking big restructures on Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, things like that to clear more space? So we're talking about all that, some free agency stuff. Obviously, if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. We'll get to as many as we can. I apologize if anyone is donating tonight. I think it might not be set up. It's not working correctly, so I don't think I'm getting the alerts. They might not be popping up on stream. But if you have done that, I will find it and read your comment. I promise. I can still find them on the Streamlabs site, but they might not pop up. So I apologize for that. But we did have one from Artie's, longtime listener of the show, with the $8. Thank you, Artie's, very much for your support. He says hi to us. He just wanted to tell us that he loves the content on YouTube and the website. He reads 90% of the articles. Keep them coming. Have a great show. So, Artie's, thank you so much for that.
We
brother.
appreciate that. But whose 10% do you not read?
Probably me.
Yeah, probably just, yeah. But
if I can say, though, about the Ricardo Allen thing, I thought it was a great question by DW. I was kind of like, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of like fangirling while just sitting here, because I mean, he was so knowledgeable too to be on here, and you could tell when DW asked that question, he was kind of a little emotional over it. Which, I mean, you forget how it's easy to forget. You focus on the player, you forget what kind of leaders. We don't really get to see the locker room stuff. So Ricardo, as he was, Foye was saying, one of the leaders in the locker room. And then just the journey he had overall, coming to the Falcons. I think it was 2014, and I believe he was a part of the final roster cuts and eventually went on the practice squad. Just the journey he had, like, with us. It's necessary on the business side and stuff, but it's a sad, kind of conclusion to his time in Atlanta, and he was a really good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him. I mean, it's always sad, like, when a player like that leaves your team, and like, it's doubly sad when you actually have a relationship with him. Like, I mean, I talked to him in the locker room like one time, so I wouldn't say that I had much of a relationship, but like, he was a leader on that defense. And with Quinn gone and the team probably moving in a new direction in terms of scheme, like, it was the writing was kind of on the wall, but it doesn't make it any less sad to see him go. So definitely gonna miss him.
One more thing, if I can add, though. He's one of those good guys in the community. So that's another. I don't know what his plans are, if he's going to move away or whatever I assume he lives in Atlanta, but he's a good community guy. In Daytona Beach, where he's from, I've went to the last 2 years. He holds like a football camp for basically over a weekend. And he's just a really good guy. Like, it's a loss on the character side. If you want to talk about football and, his level of play and stuff like that, that's whatever. But just losing a leader and a good character guy in the locker room.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it's just sad. It's always sad to see these players go. I mean, I know, like, it can get a little impersonal, when we get into real, like, salary cap manager mode, and it's like, oh, well, this player is X amount of money and this one's, becomes a little bit impersonal. But I hope, getting to talk to Foye, and we've had Keenan on here as well, that you guys can kind of get that more personal touch, because these are not just automatons. These are real people that have families that have to move around, for these sorts of things. And, usually we hear about the star players, who could pick up and leave at a moment's notice and rebuild their whole house from scratch and probably not even put a dent in their budget. But like, most of these players are not like that. Foye, like, I think he's on his way there, certainly. But like, these guys, it's tough when they lose friends and teammates and when they have to move teams around too. So just want folks to keep that in mind. We don't necessarily always mention that when we're talking about these cuts, but that is something to always keep in mind, that it's not just numbers on paper. It is people that are moving around, and that doesn't factor in on the business side of things in the NFL. unfortunately. But we can keep that in mind as we talk about these things.
And I mean, with Ricardo Allen, like we'll always have that 2016 playoff run, like that interception against the Seahawks. I think that's where you knew it's like, all right, it's celebration time after he got that pick against Seattle, and then the one the next week against Green Bay too. Like he was a staple of that 2016 team, and we saw just how important he was on the mental side of the defense in 2017 after he went down in that Saints game for the rest of the season. Like the defense was absolutely lost without him on the field. And I mean, yeah, there's something to say about the coaching behind that as well. But Ricardo Allen, like you could not understate his importance to the team, even if like in the end he was more physically limited. Like he was probably one of the smartest football players when it comes to football IQ in the entire NFL, and the Falcons definitely benefited from that for years and years.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, sad to see him go, but it's a business.
Yeah,
it's harsh.
And my mistake, Jason Gaines. It was 2018, not 2017. The years are blending together. It's been a few shit seasons.
It's true. Yeah, just a lot of crappy seasons in here, unfortunately. But so with those two moves, those were probably the two I would say like obvious ones the team was most likely to make. There are some other ones that we can still talk about, but it really comes down to, after they clear that initial hurdle with the salary cap, they're probably about 20 million over the cap right now. So once they clear that space, it becomes a question of, how much more do they need? Are they just trying to sign the draft class? Are they trying to be really aggressive and go get some big time free agents? What is the plan? And we don't really know that. We probably won't, but I'm interested to know what you guys think about that. And if the team is going to kind of try to really focus on the draft and young players and, fill up a lot of holes with undrafted guys and cheaper free agents, or if they're going to go kind of more all in this year. And
I think this is, and it's been pointed out. It was pointed out once Fontenot was hired, and I think he kind of laid a little bit of the foundation in the interview this past week. But I think this is going to be a team going forward, starting this year. They're going to be active in free agency, but it's not going to be the active that you think it is. It's not going to be, they're not going to try to win headlines every free agency period. But I do think they're going to be a team that's going to go and they're going to bargain shop a lot in free agency. And I wouldn't be surprised if pretty much every offseason you see about maybe at least 5 or 6 free agency signings. They may be low money signings, but I think you're going to see a considerable amount just based on what Fontenot did in New Orleans. And, he was the pro personnel guy. So I think that's going to be the case here again. And I think, of course, this offseason we may see it. Like I said, they're not going to have the space to go out and make the headline move. But I wouldn't be surprised if they signed about 6 or 7 guys in various spots this offseason.
I thought we agreed during our mock draft that we were signing Joe Thuney.
Yeah, Joe Thuney hive. Okay, and like Joe Thuney's a good example for how they could potentially do a big time free agent without it killing the cap this year, and we should talk about him. But yeah, did you have something else you wanted to say there?
The better question is what position is going to be prioritized?
Right. Yeah, and that's a good question too. Yeah. DW, are you still here?
Yeah, he's still
okay.
I'm here.
Okay, yeah. I was like, wait, did DW just like peace on? Okay, yeah,
yeah. He came for Foye and then he just dipped after that. Didn't want to stay for the boring part.
It's like that gif of the guy who just pieces out and disappears. No, just okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just freaking out and had forgotten about you entirely. Yeah.
With the roster, with the holes that they have, it's not a lot of premier positions that they need to go after. They don't need to sign a starting quarterback. They don't need to sign a starting left tackle. They don't need to sign a starting cornerback necessarily. But it's interesting to know what position is probably is the main one, the most prioritized one in this offseason. I mean, could it be?
It's got to be safety.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Yeah.
I would think that, but I would I'd also could see them actually going out and get a veteran left guard to be, I guess just to keep that veteran presence on that offensive line in front of Matt Ryan, just to keep him upright as best as possible. I can definitely see that being the one that they go out and say, hey, we need to get a for sure, a surefire starter here at left guard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think to me the big ones to look at would be safety, right? We've talked about that a little bit. Guard potentially, because that is one where it's like you really need one player. Obviously, you're hoping that Matt Hennessy is what you drafted, and I don't think we have any reason to think that Hennessy is not going to pan out. Is he going to be Alex Mack level? Probably not, at least not at this point in his career. But I think he's a solid, primed to be a solid starter. So if you surround him with two really good guards, that could be totally fine. We've got one in Chris Lindstrom, but left guard's a big question mark. They're probably cutting James Carpenter for cap reasons. So yeah, like Joe Tooney could be an option, but there are cheaper guys to consider as well. And then probably edge, because I wouldn't be shocked if they decide they want the money from Fowler, making him a post-June 1st cut. But like if you do that, then it's like there's literally no one. Like, I mean, Jacob Twitty Mariner, shout out, by the way, to him. He's definitely coming back. But
I think this veteran coaching staff with Pease, I think they may at least see what they have in Dante Fowler.
Yeah, same. Coaching staffs love these projects where they're like, you know what, we can fix them. Like that's how Vic Beasley got a career after the Falcons.
Right. So, me personally, if I had a preference, I would. If they're going to sign a veteran guard, to me, either he needs to be a for sure starter, like he's the guy. If not, I'd rather them draft one, because this is a really good guard class.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't want to pass up on getting a possible starter early in this guard class simply because they got a guy that may be the starter we'll see in training camp. And then, training camp comes and he's a fringe starter maybe. So you either get a guy that like you said, Thuney, for sure, he's the starting left guard going forward. That is a solid offensive line. If they don't, I'd rather them take advantage of getting a guard early.
Yeah, and that's what's plagued us the past few years. Like the one year where we decided, oh, we're going to sign Carpenter and Jamon Brown this year instead of just like
all costs.
Yeah, instead of just concentrating your resources into one really good player, you got two really bad players instead. It's like instead of getting like a quarter, you got 2 pennies because,
right.
2 beats 1. So, yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one, where if you're going to spend, go out and spend on quality. Like,
right.
Fuck quantity. There's enough shitty players in the NFL.
Well, so as a counterpoint, I think a couple things here. Arthur Smith, has a background on the offensive line. This guy played on the offensive line, so he's clearly going to prioritize it to some extent. But it takes me back to 2015 when Kyle Shanahan came here with the wide zone, and he needed someone to in the same sort of scenario where he needed someone to come in at right guard, and he brought in Chris Chester. Yeah. And none of us would have said, hey, Chris Chester is this fantastic starter. He was marginal at best, but he was a perfect fit for what Shanahan wanted to do. Now, he was the weak link on the offensive line, but he was good enough, and he was cheap as a veteran starter.
Yeah. And
I think with this scheme, I think we could see something similar from Arthur Smith, where he goes and he gets a veteran that he knows can run, that can perform those cut blocks on the back end of the wide zone. And, that's a key component here. And I think, we're thinking of that, that big name. We could see this, we could see Smith bring in somebody that we're all scratching our heads about him. And he becomes sort of that, mediocre starter that does the job just well enough, but that we don't break the bank for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and somebody that fits that exactly was someone I covered in one of my other videos, which was Quentin Spain, who was a former Titans guard for Arthur Smith. I think it was 2018, maybe 2019 even. And yeah, Spain is not a world beater. He's had some excellent years in his past, but, he's getting to be right around 30 at this point. He's been more of a depth guy and a spot starter, but in Arthur Smith's offense, he had some of his best years. So that could be a guy who comes in for just a few $1 million who could give you a Chris Chester level of play without breaking the bank. I still think they need to invest, in a long-term option there, but with the cap the way it is this year, they might have to kind of take players and make them work. They might have to go, as DW said, kind of more bargain shopping at some positions, because they probably have enough to squeeze in one big-time guy, like one impact player, and that's probably it. And even then, that impact player is going to have like a 5-year voided, contract with like $1 million in 2021. But other than that, like they're just not going to have a lot of space to do anything, unless they get super aggressive with restructures, which we could talk about too. But on the record, I don't think that's a great idea to do long term either. So
if they were to go ahead and get that borderline starter like a Quentin Spain, it's okay. But I at least avoid going the route that the previous regime did, where they signed a guy like Carpenter and said, all right, we're set. Let's not do that.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to get a Quentin Spain, that's fine. But I would want for them in round 3 to draft a guy that can be ready in a year or two in case that doesn't work out. That's what I really want them to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Please just do not sit on a level of complacency when it comes to this roster, because they're at a unique position right now. So you can't afford to sign a D-level guard and say, all right, we're set, we're good. Let's play 15.
Yeah, I don't think they're going into the season with anything like that. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I think the advantage here is we finally have a head coach who is focused on the offense, and in particular, I think it's being undersold just how important it is that Arthur Smith has that background on the offensive line. I think that's going to be a key factor in him finding value for that guard position. Like Eric's saying, for the long term, you can bring in that veteran that's going to play this year, next year, but finding maybe someone in day 2, day 3, even that fits that profile for what he wants to do on offense. I think that's a key component. And I think finally having someone at the very top who's going to help make those decisions instead of a coordinator who's going to be in and out after 1 or 2 years is going to make all the difference in the world in the draft strategy. It may not be a round 2 guy, but if it's a round 4, round 5 guy that fits the profile of what he's looking for long-term, that may be a smart strategy for a head coach that finally cares about the offensive side of the ball.
Which I think they can find a starter in round 4 at guard this year, because like I said, it's a really good guard class. It's fairly deep, and for what they want to do as an offense with that scheme, I think they can for sure find a guy in round 4. I'm not saying that they need to go in that route, but to piggyback off what DW said, Fontenot's expertise in finding value among veteran free agents, I think is going to mesh pretty well with what Arthur Smith brings to the table. Because we clown the Saints and their salary cap all the time, but you got to be honest a little bit. They did make some solid veteran free agencies that were cheap, that didn't kill the team. Getting Quan Alexander last year before he got hurt. Janoris Jenkins played solid for him for a little bit. Signing those guys were, that was Fontenot's thing, and that's what helped him get the GM job. So I think that's going to be a nice element to have as well.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys think they're going to be more aggressive in free agency under Fontenot as compared with Dimitrov, who was really kind of content to just kind of do a couple of things and then sit on the sideline?
Yes. I just don't want fans to think that aggressiveness means they're going to sign the number 1 free agent
every year. Number 1 guy.
Fans always think that every single season.
One thing I'd like to see is where you saw with the Saints, there's a couple other teams, like the Seahawks did it, but the Falcons really never took risks on those kind of risky players. That, it may not be like they may have all the talent in the world, but there might be a red flag here, a red flag there. Like hopefully, like I'd love to see the Falcons kind of go after those players, like to fill a need or whatever, instead of just we'll just shy away from them. Like I think of, I mean, you can think of other examples, but like I think of like a Alden Smith or something, or Robert Quinn, who maybe had like a past experience where he wasn't great on a team, but has shown it in the past where he can be great if he's, you know, in the right situation or whatever. Because the Falcons really, I mean, go ahead.
Or even a guy like, you know, when they signed Latavius Murray, that was a solid signing. It didn't really.
Yeah, and a lot of people were probably like, why do you do that? You have Kamara, but he like literally was playing just as good as Kamara at times.
And then
different running back style, but
bringing in Malcolm Jenkins as well was another one. Like those are the type of signings I want fans to expect going forward. It's not going to win headlines. It's not going to be a ton of money, but it's going to be those cheap bargain signs that you're going to look back and say, you know what? I'm glad he made that signing because it provided depth, provided leadership, and that's what they're going to be.
You guys remember DeMario Davis? Like,
right. I've never heard
they
of him.
signed him. Yeah, they signed him as like, you know, a more under the radar free agent. Then he becomes a freaking all pro, like back-to-back years. But, you know, and he was the stabilizing force on that defense. Right. Like he was the heart and soul of that defense, leading them to all of that success. So, you know, it also depends on your scouting team in free agency, because you can go out and can sign your free agents, but, you know, you can bring in a Brandon Fusco or, you know, James Carpenter or a Jamon Brown, and it doesn't matter if they suck.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, if you bring in Quentin Spain for like $2 million and he ends up not being that good, it's like, okay, who cares? Like, he spent $2 million. Like, obviously it's not ideal, but you're not on the hook for, I don't know, like a 4 or 5 year contract to Jamon Brown at like $6 million a year. So like, yeah, if he doesn't pan out, then you're in trouble. But
yeah,
you know, like you should take like Evan said, like you should take risks on these cheap free agents, especially when you don't have a lot of money, because you're not like exactly like for $2 million you can sign like a bench warmer, you know, you can sign like a solid guy, or you can sign like a guy who's got a red flag but who could be like a crazy, you know, who has this upside. So like you have to have balance. You have to have some of both. You need the solid guys. You need the special teamers. Like we need the Bleedy Rays. We need the Darqueze Denards. And then maybe, you know, we could use some of the Alden Smiths too. You know, have a mix. Don't just go for safe or for, you know, totally balls to the wall. Like that's my opinion. Like have a little bit of versatility in there.
Some of those guys that have some red flags, those are the type of guys that make game-winning plays. If we're being honest. If we're being honest, I know it's risky. I know you probably don't want that in the locker room, but no one's going to care about Alden Smith red flags if he makes a forced fumble in the fourth quarter to seal a game. I mean, it's just sometimes you have to go out and you have to get those type of guys. Yeah, they come with a risk, but they are great players.
Yeah, in
some cases. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it. Like when you don't have crap for money and you just got to go out and try to build a team, like you have to take some risks or else this roster's not going to be it, you know? So like at a certain point, you just have to kind of go for it. So, you know, I wouldn't blame them for taking a few risks, and I expect that they will. So we got $5 from Paul Mack. Apparently the donations are working. I did see it real quick. So yeah, he says, I can't believe we got Foye on the show. You guys are a giant step above all other Falcons content creators. Feels great to be a part of this community. Paul, thanks for buttering us up, buddy. You know, you already given us money. You didn't have to sweet talk us.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Yes, yeah, but we do appreciate you, man. Thanks for sticking around. I know you've been with us since the beginning, basically. So thanks a lot for that support, man. We appreciate that. But yeah, I know someone was about to say something, so sorry if I cut you off. Anyone?
I wasn't.
Oh, okay. No, never mind.
Oh, I just wanted to add on that little part that me and Eric were talking about. It doesn't have to be a red flag and that they like got suspended a couple times or something like that. Like I meant like red flag in general, like maybe they're older and the Falcons are like, oh, well, like there's no reason to take a risk on them, like those kind of risks. But
yeah. Like a guy coming off an injury or someone, you know, like there's a reason the price tag's going to be lower. But you know,
Marlon Mack.
Right. Marlon Mack, you know, they're going to have to take some of those type of deals. Like they're going to have to do some of that stuff because they don't have the money to be going out, get the top guy at every spot, you know? And like, you know, you could do what we did and trade down like 3 times and pick up all these picks, but that's still not going to fill out a roster. Okay. Like you can't have like 20 rookies on your roster at the end of the day and hope to be, you know, competitive. Like as fun as that could be.
This is a game of Madden.
Right.
This
the
is
same
not
Madden.
Madden.
So yeah, but, yeah, I mean, it's going to be wild. We're going to see a lot of draft picks. I mean, I do think we're going to see probably 9, you know, rookies make the team, 9 or 10 guys when it's all said and done. But they have to add some pieces in free agency. We've talked about a few they could look at here. Yeah, I mean, in terms of salary cap, obviously they're in a pretty tight spot. You know, right now they're projected to be like minus 20 million or something like that. If the cap is 185, maybe it'll go up, but we don't know that. So we're just we're in a spot where we don't have a ton of free agency money to play around with. And look, they could free up a crap ton of money. They could free up like 23 million if they did max restructures to like Ryan and Julio. I just don't think that they're going to do that for reasons we've mentioned. Like, I think they want flexibility in 2022 to do whatever Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot want with this roster. And maybe that doesn't mean actually moving on from Ryan and Julio. You know, I don't know that that's a guarantee, but it's certainly on the table. And I think, you know, some people were like, oh, well, I think Arthur Smith took the job because he had Ryan and Julio. And like, and in some ways, yes, but the job was also, I think, very interesting because you're not necessarily tied to those players if they don't turn out the way you necessarily want. Like if, you know, we're all hoping that Julio's healthy and has a great season. But if he doesn't, they're not necessarily forced to stick with him. And the same thing with Ryan. You know, Ryan could be a guy that teams are clamoring to trade for. Julio could also be a guy teams are clamoring to trade for. I'm not saying we should trade them both next season or, you know, either one of them. It's all, you know, we don't really have the information to say what they should do or not at this point, but those are moves that could be on the table next year. And if you do those restructures, you make that a lot less likely. You make that a lot more difficult to pull off, a lot more dead money on the line. So do I think they're going to completely mortgage that ability to reset this roster to try to sign, you know, a couple extra guys this year? No. But what do you guys think about that?
I thought we were trading for Deshaun Watson.
Hell yeah, brother.
And then for Dak Prescott as well.
Well, that's what Adnan.
Yeah, because Adnan hates Matt Ryan. So yeah.
But Ryan, you can restructure him and still trade or cut him in 2022 and save cap space if you do it as a post June 1st. So there are, you know, even if you restructure Ryan at the max amount, you still have the option to move on after 2021. And I think that is plus you can free up close to 15 million in cap space, which is a large chunk. So of the two, I think Ryan is the more likely. I think at this point, I'll be surprised if Julio lasts more than next year in Atlanta, just simply from the age and, you know, where his contract is going to be at, the fact that they have Calvin Ridley now as sort of the heir apparent for that wide receiver one. I think, you know, Ryan is, in my mind, is a much more likely restructure because they still have the flexibility they would have even if they didn't do it.
DW just made a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
You know, Adnan knows all about that. Yeah. But
apparently everyone's my enemy.
Yeah.
Including Julio. So basically what you're saying, DW, that, you know, a career year for Julio is on the way in 2021 because
he loves to prove people wrong.
Right.
He does. Yeah, Julio's going to have like an all-pro season next year.
Bro, I would love very soft-spoken Julio to just grab the mic at the end of the year and to just curse DW out for his criticism.
Oh, yeah, I want to thank my haters. Yeah. No, but I mean, yeah. But yeah, I mean,
it's a small price to pay for salvation, DW. You're going to have to take it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares? Yeah, you know, come at us, but no, come at DW. He was the one with that take. But yeah. But like what DW said is true. Like
the Falcoholic.
They can also choose to not do a full restructure. Like if they want to create enough for a specific signing with Ryan, they don't have to do like all of it. Like they could do some of it to clear not just enough room for what they want. So like it's not all or nothing. Like they could do a 5 million restructure or a 10 million or 20 million or whatever they want. Like they can do it. And you know, obviously the less you restructure, the less it pushes into future years. So they can they can fix that themselves. They can figure out which way they want to go with it and titrate the amount that they restructure for whoever to the exact amount. But yeah, I know the stream hiccup there, guys. I don't know what exactly went wrong, but it's working now as far as I can tell. So if it's still not working, let me know. But yeah, I mean, on that note, did you guys have anything specifically you wanted to add before we wrap up here? I mean, now that Foye is gone, my heart's just not in it. So it's like,
yeah, it really did go downhill after after that.
Yeah, we're just, the secret is that it's just about our guests. We're just once they're gone, we just got nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, we get exposed.
Exposed. Yep. Yeah. Did you guys have any final?
He stayed a long time though.
He did. He stayed for an hour. God bless him. Yeah.
He was a great guest.
Yes. Yes.
And I think also, like, we forget, like, we're all familiar with each other. He kind of just met us all, so he was just getting question after question. He handled it very well.
Oh yeah. I mean, we were grilling him. The chat I had all these questions for him, and yeah, a lot of fun there. But yeah, did you guys have any final takes you want to get off before we wrap it up tonight?
No, man. I think we pretty much covered everything, and it's a unique part of the off season. So
yeah, the calm before the storm.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
It's gonna get wild here. Yeah.
Coming.
It is coming. Yep.
They're gonna tag. We're gonna tag Keanu at some point.
You think they're gonna tag Keanu? Isn't that like
I don't
10
want to tag
million?
Keanu.
It's too much.
I don't think they can afford a tag, even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I feel like even if they could, I wouldn't want them to.
What?
I love Keanu.
Adnan hates everybody.
Yeah, Adnan just hates all the good players.
I love Keanu. I'm not letting you guys do this to me again.
Shoehorn him in.
I love Keanu. I don't want to pay $10 million for a safety.
Well, you're not. Arthur Blank is.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's
Arthur
true.
Blank. I don't want Arthur Blank to pay $10 million for a safety.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be like, I don't think they could afford like a straight up $10 million cap hit from any player this offseason, like adding that. Like, I think it would have to be a multi-year deal. It's the only way they could make it work.
I'd rather go safety in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they will. But yeah, it's gonna be
They
wild.
have to. They've got one under contract. So
Well, it depends. I mean, if we're talking free safety, yeah. Strong safety. Strong safety is not necessarily the deeper part of the safety tier, so it'd be a risk, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To let him walk, but we'll see. I rather have his veteran experience on the back end instead of going into next season with two new starters at safety. That's just me.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, it is risky, certainly. But, I mean, they could sign another veteran. Like, it just needs to be a multi-year deal. Like, they could get Neal, but it would have to be a multi-year deal. Like, I just don't think the franchise tag is going to work. But, like, if it's Neal or Marcus May or Marcus Williams, Malik Hooker could be a cheap guy. That's one of those.
Williams' market value is 13.5. So,
I mean, I don't think he's getting 13.5 personally, but.
Yeah, well, we could always go into next year not signing any safety, just run the one safety defense and still not play Sherrod Neesman.
Just as long as we don't play Sherrod Neesman, really, that's the key. So
That's just the brand of this defense. Just
we
not playing
re-sign
Sherrod
him.
Neesman when we should.
yeah, we re-sign him and then we just don't play him. Just have to keep him as the bench warmer permanently.
sure, he's not complaining.
No, he's probably happy.
All right, I'm not gonna play him. As long as I get my game.
I will say I've seen a lot of people suggesting that Isaiah Oliver should move to safety, and let me just say that is quite possibly the worst idea. Like the thing that improved Isaiah Oliver was moving him closer to the line of scrimmage, not further away from it. Like he was bad when he was away from the line of scrimmage. Like let's put the thought of Isaiah Oliver safety out of our heads because that's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't like that fit either. So
Not every corner can convert to free safety.
yeah, just because we got Foye in here who converted from safety to linebacker doesn't mean we can just start converting random people to safety. So
It's a lot of Madden being played to where it's like, all right, if we change him to safety, then his rating is going to go from like a 76 to a 74, and we still got it.
And it's still fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons for Life G with his, he says we should extend Keanu, sign Malik Hooker, and then draft Trayvon Moehrig. I mean, like, I don't hate it, but I'd probably just get Malik Hooker and then draft Trayvon Moehrig and just not bring back Neal, because I think that's going to be... I just think Neal's too expensive. I mean, if he's... I don't know how well he fits with Dean Pease, honestly. Like, I don't know if Dean Pease wants a Keanu Neal-style safety. Maybe he does.
He's going to Dallas.
Hey,
yeah,
DP,
also. Yeah.
Dean Pease made it work with Vaccaro.
He did. But does he want Neal? Like he has to go out and pay a ton of money for Neal. Like, does he want to compete with Dallas to sign Neal to a big contract, or does he want to get somebody like I'm sure he could make it work. Like, I have no question that Neal would be fine in DMP's defense, but it's more like, does he want to go out of his way to get Neal versus somebody else? I just don't know. That's all I don't know on that. But I don't think it's bad to think about re-signing Neal, and it wouldn't shock me. I just think he's going to be expensive. And, like, look, with Raheem Morris, with Jeff Ulbrich, and Dan Quinn, all defensive coordinators elsewhere, like, he's going to have suitors. He's going to have a lot of them. So it's not going to be like, oh, it's going to take a team-friendly deal to come back to Atlanta. Like, the coach that drafted him isn't here anymore. So
You never know.
you never know.
I
but
guarantee you, Dan Quinn is going to walk into Jerry Jones's office pounding the table for Keanu Neal.
Jerry Jones is going to tell him to get the hell out of the office because he makes the moves.
Yes, but then he'll go sign Keanu Neal anyway, but he'll make it seem like it was his idea. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
that sounds actually like exactly what's going to happen.
Dan is going to go to Mike and say, "Hey, man, I got this idea. I'm going to piss to Jerry. I'm going to go do it." And Mike's going to look at him and say, "Why are you don't waste your time." But
don't do
Dan,
that.
you know how he is. He's going to do it anyway. And Jerry Jones is going to give him an ugly look and just tell him to get the hell out of it.
Jerry Jones will be writing it down as he tells Dan Quinn to get the hell out.
Yeah, and then it'll be like Jerry Jones press release. Like, I wanted to bring in Keanu Neal to give this defense some physicality. It's just like whatever Dan Quinn said. Like, he just wrote it down and then said it himself. So.
We're going to be fast and physical in Dallas.
Yep, bringing that fast and physical.
Yeah, it's going to be a real brotherhood.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, so many brotherhoods around the league now with all these ex-Falcons defensive coordinators. Yeah.
That is definitely one game I'm looking forward to.
Yep, it'll be fun.
I want to see that.
The Arthur Smith versus Dan Quinn showdown.
Man, if Quinn gets embarrassed,
I can't wait to see how we attack cover 3 and then cover 3 and then cover 3 and then cover 3 again.
And then cover 1. Oh wait, no, it's just disguised cover 3.
Both Julio and Ridley have 100-yard games after 3 quarters, but he's sticking to cover 3, man. He's not changing. It's going.
Is the blitz coming? Of course it's not. It's cover 3.
Right. The Falcons were held to only 75 rushing yards, though. They put up 45 points and like 500 passing yards, but that run defense was good. Yeah.
They gave up 440 yards through the air, but
but that run defense was stout. Too soon.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of anger here.
It's a lot of anger. Yeah, we've been pent up for a while.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I'm furious.
I'm pretty furious. Yeah. All right, guys.
After Raheem Morris came out in the press conference and said, "Oh yeah, well, we went into the Seattle game looking to shut down Chris Carson in that run game. A great fucking job.
You succeeded on that one,
You
guys.
did it.
Great job. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now Carroll's like, oh, the Falcons were right. They like shut down our run game. Like, we got to go back to that. We got to make Chris Carson, a 2,000-yard rusher this year on 1,000 carries. But hey, DW, if you get to 100 yards rushing, your chances of winning the game are astronomical. So
you're gonna win.
You automatically win. It's just everyone stops and you just go home.
The game ends if you hit 100 rushing yards. Everyone knows this. So, yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, hanging out with us, and Foye Oluokun again for hanging out and talking with us. We really appreciated his time and his thoughtful responses to our questions and your questions. So thanks, guys. Before I get out of here, I want to give my guests a chance to plug their stuff. First of all, DW, aka David Walker. He's on Twitter at Falcoholic DW, host of the Falcoholic podcast, which is also excellent. You guys should check that out. DW, anything that you're working on, anything that you want to plug?
Yep, Evan and I will have a podcast coming out soon. We'll talk about the Falcons' options to trade down or trade up in this draft class. Yeah.
Very spicy. Definitely check that one out, guys. Also with us tonight, we have Evan Birchfield. He's on Twitter at Evan Birchfield. Evan, aside from being the Falcoholics Director of Guests Personnel, anything else you're working on, anything else you want to plug?
Listen to that podcast DW mentioned, and just go to Falcoholic.com. I'm glad everybody enjoyed having Foye on. Hopefully we'll be able to get some more guests soon. So thanks for watching.
Evan's already lined up 3 new guests throughout the course of this show.
He's been making calls in the background the whole the earpiece. Yeah. He's like Ian Rappaport. Yeah. He's like rap shit.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, hell, what do I do now?
He put himself on mute, and he was just checking the Falcoholic calendar. Like, Matt Ryan, next week isn't good. Can we do early
Matt,
June?
Nah, that's not good, Matt. No, that's not good. You're gonna have to come back.
We gotta find a spot for you.
Yeah, we can. Maybe we can work you in, Julio. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Julio. Not next week. We have Matt Bryan coming on.
I don't know who the next guest will be, but there will be a next guest.
Yes, of that we can be certain. Yeah. No, well, I know next week we're gonna have Will McFadden back. I know you guys enjoyed Will on here, so we're definitely gonna get him back. And we'll see if we can get Keenan on here whenever he's available as well. But yeah, thank you again, Evan, for your contributions there. Appreciate that.
Definitely.
Also with us tonight, we have Adnan Ikic at Say Which Way. Adnan, anything that you're working on you'd like to plug?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just distracted by DW's dancing for a second.
It's very distracting. Yeah.
The Falcoholic March Madness bracket. It's just a little bit delayed right now, but it will start getting churned out with the first round matchups by early March. So I'm really excited for that one. It's going to be a really fun series, and it's going to be a lot of interaction with the readers who are going to be, voting for their favorite plays and ultimately what the greatest moment was in Falcons history.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Big props to Adnan for putting that together and figuring out a full bracket worth of Falcons moments. I know that wasn't
arduous.
Easy. Yeah.
It was not
the first
easy.
30, probably not too hard, but after that,
after that, it's like, shit, this team has not had any playoffs.
Oh man, wait, this team sucks.
What do I go to?
Oh crap, I forgot. This team is not good. Yeah.
Why am I doing this again?
Yeah. Oh man, this is getting very dark. Yeah. No, but we do appreciate that, and I think that is definitely something you guys are gonna want to check out and participate in. And finally, Eric Robinson. He's on Twitter at _Eric_Robinson. Eric, anything that you're working on you'd like to let the people know about?
I just I think it was yesterday submitted a scouting report for Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia, so be on the lookout for that. Also, I have some of my reports out for Kwity Paye, Gregory Rousseau, Joseph Osai, as well as Michael Parsons. So give those a look. And as Evan mentioned, just go to the Falcoholic site as a whole, man. We will have you covered for everything free agency, everything drafts, any type of podcast you can think of. That's your one-stop shop when it comes to any and everything Falcons.
Yeah, guys, definitely check out the site. Tons of great content on there, written content, as well as we have obviously the Falcoholic podcast run by DW and all the video content here on the YouTube channel. So definitely check that out, guys. Finally.
I think we're bringing back Crossfire soon, right?
Yes, we are.
Very exciting. Yeah. Those shows are a ton of fun. So, yeah, you guys aren't going to want to miss those. Reigning champion, Eric Robinson. He doesn't like to brag, but yeah.
Don't put me against Gina, man, please.
Yeah. Got to save that for the finals.
At least. Gina's a bully, okay? So, I'm not ready for that.
Yeah, guys. I'm Kevin Knight at Falcoholic Kevin. Like I said, do check out the site. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate that. Check out the Patreon as well. And if you're interested in that patron Q&A session, like I said, we're looking at next Thursday at 6, I think is what we currently have circled. Might change a little bit depending on schedules and availability and such. But if you're interested in taking part of that, hit up the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Falcoholic Live. And join us on the community Discord server, the link to which is in the show description, for some, casual Falcons chat. Good times there as well. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with us. We know there's not too much, news going on, so we appreciate everyone hanging out as we try desperately to come up with content. We don't got too much further to go. A couple more weeks now until the new league year starts, and it's going to be a total frenzy. And then it'll be all draft until then, and it's going to be an exciting offseason. We got a lot to look forward to. It's going to be a very different looking team in 2021. We don't know exactly how different, but probably more than people are expecting, just to say that. But I don't have any inside information. That's just my gut. Maybe I do have inside information. You guys just don't know, but I don't. I don't want the team coming after me like somebody else we know.
Evan has the insider.
Yeah, Evan's the insider. I see him back there making calls still, so he's probably getting those tips right now. Yeah.
He's the Adam Schefter of the Falcon.
Yeah. Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
I just see him back there constantly. Just yep. Hey.
Yeah, we just go on Twitter. He's just broken some news we have no idea about.
Yeah, Matt Bryant's feeding him information, So. But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. We will talk to you guys next time. I said I would have a new episode last week. That did not work out. So there will be an episode on Friday, the promised defensive tackle free agent look, and more coming. I promise that. So look for those later this week, and then we will be back next Wednesday for another episode of the Falcoholic Live. So until then, enjoy the rest of your week and evening. We will talk to you guys after that. Thank you once again for tuning into the Falcoholic Live. Have a great night, folks.